socks on the whole time for this class. Just make sure that you are warm and comfortable. If you want to pop your music on, pop your music on. And come to cross-legged. If you're not comfortable in cross-legged, I should say as well, you can always sit kneeling or sit on your bolster with your legs back. So options to sit on your flat block, which I'm going to do this evening, can take a bit of pressure out of your knees as well. So just making sure that you feel comfortable here for a moment, that your hips are evenly, or sit bones are evenly grounded. And just bring the hands over the tops of the knees and slightly draw back and forward with the pelvis. And then a little shift side to side, and just feel that you're right in the centre of your sit bones there. And then just come to stillness. Close your eyes for a moment. If you don't want to close your eyes, just soften the gaze ahead of you on the floor so you feel that your eyes are relaxed. And then just draw your awareness to your breath. Just feel aware of your breath moving in and out through your nose. Just take 2 more breaths together, synchronizing the breath here. So feeling that as you breathe in, the rib cage expands in all directions, front to back, side to side. And as you breathe out, just feel that very slight drawing up with the pelvic floor and the low belly. And as you inhale, just feeling that you expand in the rib cage. And then when you exhale, that slight bit of engagement into the pelvic floor and the low belly. Let's just take 1 more like that, breathing in together, full inhale, softening the pelvic floor, letting the belly and the ribs expand. And then as you exhale, drawing in and up. And then just gently opening the eyes if they were closed. Or just interlace the fingers, stretch up, reach tall, breathing in. And then breathing out, bring your right hand down, just a light touch with the fingertips and just really lengthening out through the left side. The palm can face down here, so you really have that line from hip to middle finger. And then inhale, come up and over. Exhale, softening the left hand down all the way over to your left. And then again, inhaling back through the centre. Exhale, just take a gentle twist to your right, so you can bring your left hand outside your right knee. Just a soft twist, and just lengthen the sides of the neck. We'll take a full breath in here. Full breath out. Lovely, coming back through the centre, inhaling, and then exhaling a gentle twist around to the left. And just notice if you can really have that sense of length here, space to breathe in fully, and space to breathe out as you come back through the centre. Well done. And then just bring your hands over your knees, over the fronts of your knees. As you inhale, let the tail tip back, and lift the back of the heart to the sky, lift the gaze, draw the shoulders down. And then as you exhale, curl belly to spine. Really let the head curl in, let everything round. Let's do that twice more. So the inhale to open up, expanding. The exhale to coil in. Great. Last one, inhaling. So really letting the pelvis rock, the back of the heart open, draw the chest open. And then exhale, curl everything back in, lengthening through the back body. Head draws in. And then inhale, come back to centre, just give the shoulders a little roll. And then just gently ease your neck side to side, just really gently. And then bringing your ear over to your left side, just take a little half moon all the way around to the right side. And then back the other way. So again, just nice and gentle. It might feel a bit clicky, a bit crunchy, especially if you've been working at desk a lot today. Good. And then as you come back through the centre again, just give the shoulders a little roll, a little shrug out. Good. And then just lift your block away and we'll come to laying down. So you can just come back to laying down really gently, so no rush. And we'll bring the forearms down to support ourselves, and then just lower all the way down through your spine, keeping the soles of the feet on the mat here. Good. And then just bring the arms out by your sides, or have that cactus bend at the elbow if that feels less tense in the shoulders and the neck there. Just shuffle the shoulders down your back. And again, just take a full breath here. Just tune into the feeling of the body connecting with the ground. Taking another full breath in. And a full breath out. And then just start to make very small movements side to side with the knees. So you're keeping the soles of the feet on the ground. They'll rock, obviously, side to side. The pressure will shift. And you can just gradually increase that movement. And you'll perhaps feel a little sense of massage across the outer hip. And then bringing the twist a little deeper, maybe feeling a stretch into the side waist or across your low back. It should feel really nice. There shouldn't be any discomfort. So if there is, just don't go so far with the range of motion. It doesn't have to be a massive movement. And then start to bring the head into play. So the head can turn the opposite way to the knees. And again, just really allowing this to be a very gliding, soft movement. Really feeling that you use the ground to give yourself a little massage. Great. And then the next time that you're even left and right, come back to centre. And then just slide your legs away and reach the arms overhead for a little stretch. Breathe in. And breathe out, hug the right knee in. So often we do this as a warm-up in our more dynamic classes. We're just going to keep it really soft. Just think about lengthening across the top of the left hip and softening the shoulders away from the ears. Lovely. And then just give your ankle a little roll. And the other way. And then gradually just extending your right leg towards the ceiling. Again, it can be really bent here, and you can hold behind the thigh. You can hold behind the calf if it's comfortable, and just flex and extend your foot. Great. And again, just really rolling out through the foot there. Lovely. And then hug that knee back into your chest. Slide the leg away as you breathe in, take a stretch. And then breathe out, hug the left knee in. Again, don't feel that you have to go to your maximum range of motion. You can gradually kind of snuggle that knee in, and then really reaching away through the right leg. Lovely. Again, just checking in if you've gone into any habit of gripping the jaw or creating tension in the neck. Just soften there. Keep the awareness with your breath, this flowing in and out through the nose. And then you can extend the left leg up. Again, you can have quite a good bend in the knee. It will straighten as much as is not your maximum range. And then flexing and extending through the foot, really rolling, spreading the toes. And even curl them in and then roll them uncurled again the other way. Lovely. Might get some nice cracks and pops. Good. And then hug that knee back in and lower the leg down, take a full stretch. And then maybe even have a little wriggle here, just shuffling the hips, or hitching the hips really, side to side. And then just allow the arms to start to come loosely down by the sides. Again, just checking in with your breath for a moment there. So, we'll start to come into our longer holds now. So again, because we're going to stay in these postures for around 3 to 5 minutes, it isn't about a big stretch. It really is about softening and releasing tension. So don't feel that you have to go to a maximum range of motion. We're going to begin with Baddha Konasana. There's 2 ways you can do this. If you have a bolster, you can find your bolster now, and your bottom will be off the bolster. You will lay your spine along the length of it with the head at the top, and you might want your flat block or even a brick block to give yourself a little pillow. This could be a rolled up cushion, it could be a rolled up blanket with another cushion under your head, and then you can pop that block under your head there and let the knees come out to the sides. And for this first one, let's just bring the hands to the belly for a few breaths, and then we'll bring them down by the side. So set yourself up with the hands here for now. If that's not comfortable, of course, bring the arms down. You can also just do this laying flat on your back if you prefer. So if you don't want to lay on the bolster at all, you can come to laying flat. If your knees are quite high off the ground, you can get cushions or brick-shaped blocks and pop those under your knees or even under your thighs. So depending on how high the legs are off the ground, you might be very high off the ground and want to have the blocks on their highest or shortest facet. You might want them on the long edge or the shallow edge, and it might even be that putting them near your hips is good, so you can have that support there. I would consider doing this with a strap, but actually sometimes the faff of the strap is not relaxing. So we're just going to do it like this today and lay nicely supported. So I'll just have a quick look at what you're all doing. Looks good. If you feel any pain around the hip joints, either from tightness or from hypermobility, propping the legs is good. So if your hips are quite open, consider propping under the thighs or the knees to take the strain out of the joint there. Looking good. So don't rush and take your time to feel really comfortable here. Lovely. Great. So when the body's not doing, sometimes the mind can become even more active. It's like not thinking about a pink elephant. Or sometimes you can just start to feel really sleepy. So the challenge with this practice is to relax your body whilst staying mindful and quietly alert. So that almost implies some effort and trying. It's not really that either, just aware that your body might want to go in either direction, and that doesn't mean either is right or wrong, just depends on the day quite often. So as you settle and allow the ground to take your weight and your props to support you, just come back to following the breath again. So whether you're feeling sleepy or whether you're feeling that your thoughts are racing, just gently redirect awareness back to your breath. So noticing as you breathe in again that expansion of the rib cage, the rise of the belly. As you breathe out, a soft drawing back to center. So again, there doesn't need to be any trying here, but just feeling that very soft movement that happens in the abdomen. And the perfect balance, even in the cycle of our breath, of expansion and release and contraction and containment. Just checking in again with your jaw. Maybe you can make a little softening of the cheeks, gentle parting of the teeth, and just allowing the tongue to softly rest on the roof of your mouth. And just softening the corners of the eyes. Allowing your eyelids to be really heavy. And feeling the brow soften, the back of the head fully releasing into your props. And as thoughts inevitably drift in and out, just allow them to be there, noticing that dreaminess that you can surrender to as you just notice, just let them wash past you. And so just starting to feel aware of your feet. Begin to imagine the line running up the inner side of your legs, and just gently activate that inner side to draw the knees back together. Again, don't rush. And then just separate the feet hip distance. And you might feel, actually let's come out of it before we do that. Yeah, you might want to sway or you might want to steeple your legs, but if that feels too much pressure in your back where you are, then just be still and press yourself up to sit. Great. So just very gently coming up to sit, and then just extend your legs straight forwards, or even with bent knees, and just very gently tip forwards and back a little bit. So just rocking the pelvis just really gently. Great. And then again, I say forward fold, it's not a forward fold, we're coming to that in a minute. You can keep the knees bent, just tip the body forwards and back a couple of times. And almost like cat-cow there, so we're going to inhale, lift the chest forward, exhale, pull it down. So just avoiding any stiffness from that stillness. Good. So the knees can be quite bent to enable that motion, that's fine. Great. So we'll come into a supported child's pose, again just to draw a little counter pose to that hip opening. So this is a really nice supported child's pose on the bolster. So depending on your knees, you might want to pop a blanket behind your knees, and you can just kind of just slug onto it really. You might want something for your head, a block, or probably a blanket, and a flat block is better actually, not the brick, just to give yourself again a little bit of support for the head. And we're going to turn the head to one side. So the arms can just really rest really lightly in front of you here, wherever feels comfortable and without effort. Great. So we'll turn the head after a minute here as well. So again, just making sure that you are comfy there. Great. And you can let the eyes close. So turning the head to one side if you haven't already. Great. And again, just allowing yourself to settle into this very restful place. Again, feeling the difference in your breath here. So this time as the ribs expand, just feeling really aware of your belly and ribs pressing into the mat. So it's almost like a little gentle abdominal massage here. Might make your tummy feel a bit rumbly. And again, just watching that rise and fall of your breath. And notice if you feel any irritation or reaction to the shape, the stillness. Again, just noticing. In a class environment, a usual class environment, sometimes we can feel irritated by another person's breath, or sometimes snoring in these restorative practices. And it's all too easy to personalise distractions in the environment. So maybe there's noise in your local area, and just notice if you can be quietly aware of anything that could be a distraction without personalising it, without it disturbing the peace of this gentle practice. So just start to turn your head to the other side if you haven't done so already. And once you've turned, making sure that you really soften any tension in the jaw again. Maybe just noticing if one side feels less comfortable than the other. Might take a bit more time to be there, or to settle there, I should say. And then just notice if you can really allow your awareness to come back to your breath. Just start to feel aware now of your hands on the ground. Breathe a little bit of energy into the fingertips as you inhale. And as you exhale, press into the hands. Just draw your head back through to the centre for a moment. Good. And then very slowly start to pad your way up to sitting. Great. So we're going to come into a forward fold. So we're going to keep the bolster pretty much the same for this one, except you might want a little more prop for your head for this one. So the bolster can come between your legs. If you don't have a bolster, the tower of cushions and books can do just as well, with something soft on it just to rest the head. So you're having a bolster here, and maybe a little tower of blocks midway with a blanket on the top. And you can hug the end of your bolster, can feel quite nice. Again, you might need to just spend a bit of time finding a comfortable place for the legs to prop your elbows. You might even want to prop a cushion or block there, or a blanket, so that your arms are comfortable on your legs there. And again, we'll start with the head to one side. So make sure that your head does feel comfortable, even if you're quite bendy. In this variation, you can find a bit of strain in the neck. So if you've got two bolsters, you can do two bolsters, or you can even prop under the end of your bolster there with a block. That's another really nice way to do it. So you put the blocks under here, so you've got a little ski slope with your bolster there. So choose which works for you. In fact, I think ski slope is my favourite. And it does always depend on the day, just how everything's feeling. So again, don't rush. Take your time settling and making each posture is like a little nest that you have to feather for maximum comfort. So really don't rush, take your time. And especially, you know, you're not in a class environment where sometimes we do feel a bit rushed to get into the shape quickly. No one can see you, it's fine. And even if they could, it doesn't matter, but great. And if it becomes uncomfortable in the legs, do bend the knees and prop the feet up as well. That's another, can always start there. Good. And if you're not comfortable at any point, just come and lay down. It's fine. So, Mum, have you tried wedging one end of your bolster like this? So you have it under, yeah, and then you can put a couple under there. You can even pop it against the wall. Rest the bolster on the wall, yeah. And then use your blocks and your pillow under your face. Don't rush. So again, just coming back to watching breath again here. Just fully present with the sensations of your body. So if there's pain, don't ignore it, but sometimes the will to fidget or change is just because our sympathetic nervous system is used to doing and being busy. So again, just notice that. Again, just noticing when sometimes we feel irritated by noise or sensation. And just noticing if you can choose a different reaction. Or just not allowing your mind to amplify it. The reaction is the reaction. But just seeing if you can bring your attention and your mind back to the sensation of breath in your body. If you need to turn your head and you haven't, please do. You can also have the forehead here pressing if you've got space to breathe. That's great. If you can learn to remain focused in these more restful yoga practices, as much as the dynamic ones, perhaps you might start to notice the ripple effects in the rest of your life. And that doesn't mean we don't react to things as, you know, indignantly here and there. But when we practice choosing thoughts in these moments of stillness and protecting our minds from its tendencies to ruminate and experience perfectly innocuous moments of the day as personally targeted or personally inconsiderate, then we can just check that and give ourselves and everyone else just a softer regard. just start to feel aware now of pressure in one side of your head or your forehead. As you breathe in, start to feel your core muscles engage, and on the exhale draw them in a little to start to lift the torso away from the cushions. Great. And then just gently allow the head to come up, and just take a moment to let the gaze come back to focus. You can feel a bit bleary-eyed after that one, I know. Great. And then just move your props to the side and bring yourself forwards a little bit on your mat. We're going to make our way back down to reclined postures now. So again, to come down, you can keep your legs straight or prop your feet so that you can really gently lower yourself down, least effort possible, and lower all the way to the mat. Lovely. So we're going to come into, I say supported twist, but they're really a supported laying on your side. Unless you feel that your body's going to be comfortable to lay in a twist for a good minute or two. It's really personal choice. Some of you may feel if you lay in a twist for a long time it aggravates your sacroiliac because you're passively putting a little bit of force through there with the twist. In which case we'll just come to the side and have the bolster here. You might not want a bolster. You can lay completely on your side with your blanket under your head. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to do this. And again, making sure that this arm is comfortable. So you might just want to rest it on your hip. You might want to prop your head a little more and have both hands, you know, sort of like a little prayer here. The other way, as I said, if you feel that your back's going to be comfortable, is either to take just a more traditional reclined twist, if you like, with the leg coming onto the bolster and the shoulders remaining on the mat. If neither of those really work for you and it bothers your sacrum, you could use the bolster, probably a bit too thick. Probably a flat block is perfect, or the brick. And again, you can just come to laying on your side here with a little prop for the head and have both knees bent and lay on your side here. So, if you're not sure, probably just go with the bolster if you have one and laying on your back, laying on your side and prop yourself. It's really restful and you get that nice bit of length through the underneath leg. For most of you that should be absolutely fine. Great. So again, just make sure that there's no sense of strain or force in the outer hip or the low back, because we're going to be here for a while. Make sure that you do feel that top leg is really well supported and that you've got a nice bit of length through the underside of the body there, and that there's no forcing in the neck. Great. Yeah, so have a little shuffle and a fidget to feel good. And once you've come into your shape, you can close the eyes if it feels good, or just soften the gaze somewhere to the side there. Find a spot to allow your eyes to get that slightly out of focus gaze. And then soften your fingers. So that they just naturally lightly curl if their palms are open. If your palms are together, you can just really feel that sense of loose connection of your palms, so that you don't feel you're holding on in any way. There's just a complete softening and support again from the ground. Just take note of which side you're on. Notice if either one of your nostrils feels congested. Again, just notice, and we'll do the same on the other side when we come to it. Notice as you breathe here the greater feeling of expansion into the top side of the rib cage and the slight pressure of the ground on the underneath side. Scanning for any tension in the shoulders and the sides of the neck. Noticing if your chin tends to duck forwards and create tension there. Just notice if you can have that sense of length in the back of the neck. That concave shape to the back of the neck there. Without a harsh arch at the base of the skull. And notice if you can consciously soften the attachments of your neck muscles right on the axis of the skull and the neck there. And just imagine that lovely feeling when perhaps a hairdresser, or if you've ever had a head massage, where they cup the base of your skull and just give that little lift and release of pressure. Just visualizing that softening there. And as we start to transition to the other side, see if you can keep the neck soft. So the head is heavy. Just see if you can, on the exhale again, use that little draw in of the belly to adjust the legs. So moving from the center of the body. Good. And again, come out of it slowly. As you come onto your back, you may want to give the knees a little hug to the chest, or a little roll side to side. Just go with what feels instinctive and intuitive here. It might be that you want to take some of those little froggy leg circles for a moment, just massaging along the length of the lower back there. Great. And then maybe just give the forehead a little hug to the knees. Again, moving from the center without straining the neck. And then lower yourself back down and start to set yourself up for the other side. So again, not rushing, and again just noticing if one side might need a little more propping than the other. Maybe one side of one outer hip feels a little tighter today. So it might be that you prop it a little higher to start with and then gradually allow the depth to increase by removing a layer of support. So again, it's balancing reaction to sensation with reaction to pain. Obviously, we don't want pain. Lovely. Just scanning the sides of your neck here for any tension, the jaw. Just noticing again whether one or other nostril might feel easier or free flowing. So it's said that the easier or greater the flow of breath through your left nostril is enabling of activating the right side of the brain, or showing that perhaps the right side of the brain is more activated, which is the hemisphere that is our more intuitive, creative side, whereas the left side of our brain can tend to be more analytical. So this idea again that we just very much bring both sides of the body into balance when we draw attention to either one and treat them the same. Again, checking in with that feeling of expansion in the upper facing side of your ribs, and the connection with the ground on the underneath side. And the feeling of the breath and the difference in sensation. So on the next breath, start to feel a little more energy in the top leg as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, that connection to the center, so a little draw in of the belly to start to unwind the shape. Lovely. And then again, carefully removing your props so that you can come back to laying on your back. Great. Maybe taking a full stretch, maybe giving the knees a hug. Maybe both. Little breaststroke legs with the knees, a few times one way and a few times the other. You can bring the hands over the knees to help you do that. That's it. So it's that circling action in both directions. Great. And then just extend the legs for a moment. Just come to laying flat on your back. And just for a moment, just laying on your back, press the hands down into the mat, press your heels down into the mat, and then just relax again. Great. So, we'll come to supported back bend. It might be that your shape is quite similar to where we started in that supported Baddha Konasana, with the bolster or cushion or rolled up pillow along the length of your back. So for some of us, this can be enough of a back bend to be here. The other way to do it is, oh, and actually you could have your knees up there as well. That's really nice. The other way to do it is to have the bolster widthways. So almost like a supported fish here. You might want a block for your head again, so that you bring this across your mid-back and lower yourself so the head is supported there. And you can adjust it by rocking forwards or back a little bit more. Arms can be a little bit intense here because we've either got to have them here or out to the side. You can't really have them in a V with the bolster, in which case you might be better with your block, as we often do in lots of my classes that you'll come to. We often will pop a block here, and you can have it on the low facet or the high facet. Today you might want to have a blanket over it there, making sure it's not lumpy like mine, and you can lay over it here, which is really nice. And again, if it feels a bit much on the neck, especially to be there a while, you can put your second block or cushion or flat block, unless you've got any particular neck issues, is really nice, so that you've just got a little bit of support there. Okay, so it's really a kind of supported fish or Matsyasana, but it is a back bend or a heart opener. So yeah, take a bit of time to find the right shape. You might not want to go as deep as you would normally. On the other hand, you could start deep for a minute and then adjust it lower if you wanted to. Anyone confused? Good. Great. And it should feel really quite nice. So if it doesn't, adjust yourself. So we do want to have the bottom on the ground here. So Amanda, you might need yours. Yeah, so not supported bridge, but yeah. That said, if it's not working for you and you'd rather do a supported bridge, that's fine. So we'll still get spinal extension with that. Yeah, is that good? Okay. So the other thing is, after a while here, if you want to extend your legs, you can, or if you want to bring the legs in and have the soles of the feet almost like a bridge pose prep, you can. Okay. So we're just going to stay here for another minute. I don't want to be here too long. And just really noticing again here that feeling of release across the front of the chest. So notice if you can have your palms up. Most of you have, but sometimes when the palms are rolled in, we are there's an element of holding on. And also if the palms can roll up, we release that line of tension all along the inner arm, allowing the shoulders to roll back and down, and enabling that natural extension of the upper spine and the curved back of the neck. So many of us, our posture becomes overly kyphotic, meaning we curl in, that stooping over pattern to the spine. And this also gives a lovely passive lengthening, especially when you extend the legs of the psoas, so the prime hip flexor, and also very important in our core mobility and core strength. So we want that muscle to be strong, but when we sit a lot, it can get very tight and reduce our lumbar curve, which in turn can shorten hamstrings, and a vicious cycle of tightness and discomfort occurs. And so a lot of these longer holds are really about restoring, healing, renewing, making space for the body to repair itself. And sleep alone doesn't really always do that for us. So taking this kind of deep rest, you're alert, your nervous system knows you're awake, and yet you're deeply relaxed. And it's very good for us. So we'll just take 3 more breaths here. So start to energize your breath a little. And when you've taken your 3rd breath, again draw into the belly, draw up with the pelvic floor, bring the soles of the feet to the mat if they aren't already there, and very gradually work yourself out of it. Great. Just let the head come up slow because you might feel a bit woozy. Lovely. And then again, from here you can just come to laying down again on your mat. Just let your back settle for a moment. Take a breath in and a breath out, and then just gradually walk the knees in and give the knees a little hug. So just bringing some flexion into the spine and a little curl of the forehead to the knees. And you can do that a couple of times, just releasing the hug, lowering the head, and on the exhale, drawing in. Again, moving with your breath there, just to bring a little bit of movement around the edges there. Good. And then just bring the soles of the feet to the mat in that constructive rest position there. And settle. Good. So we're going to come into a little series of legs up the wall shapes. Wardrobe is good, door is good, sofa is also good. So just turn yourself and find somewhere where you can extend your legs. So if you're using a chair, you can, and in fact you might want to use a chair for one and then come to the wall. This can be a nice soft way into it. You'll lay here and bring the shins, or the calves even, not your shins, definitely not your shins, your calves onto the chair and be here. And again, you can always take a little bit of support for your head. You might even want to prop a block or a rolled up something like that under your back here for comfort. That can be really nice. And you can just stay there for 5 minutes. If you're coming to the wall, you know what you're doing. The best way is to come in sideways into a little ball and then flip your legs up. So I've put all this stuff in the way, but you get really tight in here and then spin yourself back so that you can really get your bottom as close to the wall as possible and then spin yourself around. Before you do that, make sure you've got your blocks next to you and maybe a blanket to keep you warm. And we'll start there. We will also do a couple of variations with the legs. So the butterfly leg shape up the wall, the straddle shape up the wall. So make sure you've got room to do those. It's not the end of the world if you don't take all of those shapes, but just be aware that that's a possibility that you can take. And again, it doesn't have to be your maximum range in the straddle. It's again just a passive release. Good. And just check that you're warm and comfortable. So the other thing you might want to do here is to cover your eyes, or cover your cut down the glare from the light. So if you have a top or a blanket there, you can do that as well. So after a little while here, the legs will start to feel perhaps a little bit fizzy. Sometimes your lower back can take a little bit of getting used to here, and it might be that in a moment or two you want to lift the hips higher with your block. So with these inverted postures, and particularly with these passive ones where you're not concentrating deeply on muscular engagement or technique or alignment, there's that lovely sense of sending your thoughts down to earth, just allowing anything that's going on tomorrow or has been going on today just to melt back down into the ground. And allow the ground to support your busy mind. And allow your feet, which are your root, your anchor to the earth so often, to be your focus. And on a purely physiological level, we really reduce pressure on the heart, especially in these passive inversions, as the blood in the lower limbs doesn't have to be pumped back to the heart, so that venous return is unburdened, and also great for your lymphatic circulation, as well as really cultivating again the parasympathetic state of the nervous system, so the body knows it's at rest but alert. And this is where we start to really tone the vagus nerve, that wandering nerve that runs all through the body really, and is so important in maintaining our sense of well-being, reducing our stress levels, and noticing how your breath can feel quite light here, very soft. You might want to start to make a different shape with the legs now, maybe a butterfly shape, that diamond in the legs, Baddha Konasana. And really allowing the wall or your prop to take the weight of your legs wherever you are. Feeling space across the front of the hips. Another really great anti-gravity effect, if you like, on pelvic floors. If we sit a lot, or we're standing a lot, or lifting heavy things, it's just very restful for those muscles. And if you want to start to think about a straddle shape, You can start to open the legs into that now. Again, it doesn't have to be a big straddle. Just feeling aware of the inner line of the legs. And just softening the tissue there. Again, just noticing the change in sensation there. And so we'll start to, again on the breath in, energize the feet a little. And as you exhale, slight engagement through the core to draw the legs back in, up to straight. Just let them settle there for a moment. And they're probably going to feel a little bit fizzy, so we're going to bring them into the chest, again nice and slow. Keep them there for a moment. Yeah, nice slow transitions out of this. Just let the blood come back into your feet and your lower limbs. And then just roll onto your side, doesn't matter which. Just settle on your side for a moment. Again, don't rush to sit, just let that settle for a moment. And when you're ready to, just gradually bring yourself up to seated. All right. Everyone's looking sleepier. And then we'll have a supported Shavasana for a good 5 minutes. And we will also take a traditional prone version for a minute as well. So this one, you can prop yourself with anything. If you've got a bolster, you can pop a couple of blocks under there. If you've got books and cushions and a rolled up blanket, you can make the same slanting shape there. Again, that ski slope shape. You might again want something under your head or a blanket, and a blanket to cover yourself. So just basically everything now. We're going to make a proper nest. So as you come to your bolster again, your bottom is off the mat. You can kind of reverse yourself just so you feel that you're evenly placed on the bolster. Bring a blanket with you. Actually, cover up your legs first, as some of you sensibly did. And then just again, carefully lowering yourself back. And arms can rest on the floor. Again, this should feel really, really nice. If it doesn't, wave. And actually, before you settle yourself, if you want to turn off lights or dim lights, now's a good time to do that. Sorry if you've already got comfy. Some of you are already nicely snuggled in the dark. Good. And then just come back to it. And again, don't rush. Make sure that you feel really comfortable. And again, if you want to cover your eyes, do. But now the lights are dimmed, probably fine just to give yourself space to breathe. Great. But if you know, as I say, if you want to cover the eyes, that can be quite comforting, even just to lay something across your forehead. Great. And again, there's that sense just of allowing the shoulders to soften down your back. to create length in the sides of the neck, softening the jaw, softening the inner corners of your eyes. Just noticing if you can really feel, with every exhale, that sense of greater release of tension. So with every inhale, you're really bringing in that quiet awareness that you're resting, and every exhale, just releasing any remaining tension in the body, nothing to hold on to. And I'll just read a really nice description of where we come to in these quiet, reflective, meditative states of awareness. And then I'll leave you quiet for a bit. I'm minding the time, so you can just relax. This is described as the journey of transformation. The journey of transformation begins with inward focus. Meditative awareness harmonizes unconscious forces, restless mind, and emotional conflicts. Mindful meditative awareness transports you to another dimension, where you can experience the unifying power of spirit. It leads you to a sacred space in the cave of your heart, where you can return again and again to regain the protective power of the divine that's always present in you. As you enter this sacred space, leave your ego mind outside and invite the witness inside. The witness is like a black hole. Whatever you bring into it disappears into the void of nothingness, leaving nothing for you to do. The most beautiful part of the witness is that you have no obligation to process anything, to control anything, or to expect anything. Simply be in it. So again, inevitably, as your mind might become dreamy, or you feel that drifty state where you're at deep rest, or thoughts blur in and out, just that lovely awareness of the unchanging, quiet core of yourself, always there, always unaffected by circumstance, reaction, expectation, just perfect as it is. starting to feel that you draw a little energy to your breath, just gradually, without rushing. Perhaps as you breathe in more deeply, the air feels cooler in your nose. And as you breathe out, a little warmer. And then just start to give fingers and toes a little bit of a wriggle. And you can just really kind of roll gently off of your props or push yourself up. And then just push everything as quiet as you can to one side. And just for a moment, settle just fully on your back. And just staying with that feeling of complete ease. You can gradually open your eyes. Just let the gaze be really soft and loose. Maybe it's dark where you are, maybe the lights are there. So just let the light come back slowly if it's a little bright. And then again, just feel that sense of the ground holding you. So you're completely aware of how relaxed you are, you're awake. And you just feel the neutral curves of your spine here, the tail drawing into the ground, lumbar spine curving away, upper back rounding into the ground, neck curving away. And that just lovely feeling of supported heaviness of the head. And then just again start to bring a little movement to fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. And start to take a bit of a stretch, just gradually. And then rolling to your right side. Again, just settle there for a moment. And then just use your hands to pad yourself back up to seated so that there's minimal effort and strain in the neck. And just find a cross-leg seat or any comfortable seat. And just allow yourself to be a bit sleepy, it's fine. And just give the shoulders a little roll. And again, just a little rock forwards, back, side to side. And see if you can just lengthen up out of your seat. So without strain, just feel the shoulders gliding down the back. Sides of the neck are long, jaw is soft. And then feeling aware of the space above the crown of your head. And imagine you can grow a little taller above that. Well done, everyone. Let's just take a couple of breaths together just to wake up a little bit. So we'll bring the hands, you can take that little lotus mudra if you know it, otherwise just feel that you kind of scoop up just a little bit of something from the ground and then exhale, open it out. So there's always that nice story that the lotus grows up from the mud, so the ground is muddy, you draw it up, and then you surround yourself with all that lovely light, fresh ease of the